much. This is Waldo receiving fire on the western side of the LC.
Roger that, rolling in.
I'm ready.
Waldo, this is Victor.
Okay, you got 60, still
I
64.
see all kinds of goddamn fire on the west side of the LC, and my minis are in off. We got red smoke on it. Where the hell are you at now?
I'm right behind you.
The Stone Vet. I hit the ground running when I'm invading your country. And still with honor and discipline, throw my guns like onions.
What's up, guys? Sergeant G here from the STONED VET USMC, man. I'm super excited to be here with you guys once again, man. Like I said, we always come into the end of the week when I'm able to give you these amazing episodes from amazing people advocating for this beautiful plant right here. If you guys are on YouTube, you see what I'm pointing at, right? That beautiful plant, right? It's a weed. I'm super excited to be here with you guys, man. Like I tell you guys on a weekly basis, this is my counseling session for you guys, man. To be able to come here and just be able to hang out and just BS with you guys, man, right? Because you guys remember what it was like. I know in the Marine Corps for myself, I mean, after a long freaking week, one of the biggest things we did, we always went to the smoke pit. We said, all right, who's bringing the liquor and who's getting the meat so we can have the grill going, man. And that's one of the biggest things, like I tell you guys, that's just one of the stresses that we had serving our country, right, on a weekly basis, depending on whatever your MOS was, man. You know how it always is. It was like, man, Sergeant G had me doing some bullshit today, dude. You won't believe me. He been riding my ass all week, and that's one of the biggest things, that camaraderie. That's one of the biggest things we miss after serving our country, right, is the camaraderie. We get out of service. How many of us really stay in touch with anybody that we actually served with, man? Like for me personally, there's a couple of guys I talk to, but I don't talk to them nowhere near like we did when we were serving our country. And so this is why I do this podcast, is to be able to hang out, right? This is my counseling session. I'm able to do this on a weekly basis, so I get to see a counselor once a week, right? And I'm not paying out the wazoo for it, And it's a brother or a sister that I get to bring on, man. Like last week I had Brittany on the show, and you guys, that was an excellent episode. I love that episode, especially what she's doing after serving our country, man. And this week I get to bring on another freaking jarhead, which I'm super excited about, man. I want to give a huge shout out to my sponsor, Raffle 180. Raffle 180 provides you the best medicinal grade CBD, hands down. Their CBD is 100% THC free. So for those of you like myself who cannot consume THC right now, by the time you guys watch this episode, I'll probably have like 65 days left or so. I cannot consume THC for the next 65 days, dude. It's been almost 2 years that I've been on probation. I haven't consumed since June of 2020. So it's been well over 2 years since I've had a tolerance break, man. But if you guys are needing to replenish your endocannabinoid system, you have got to use cannabidiol to replenish your endocannabinoid system. Go over to raffle180.com and check out their amazing CBD line that they have, man. If you guys suck at getting sleep like myself, man, I average like 4, maybe 5 hours of sleep if I'm lucky, right, during the week when I'm having to go to work. They have this amazing product called Sapphire. It's a liquid tincture. Stick it under your tongue, hold it for a couple of seconds, and swallow it, man. What it does, it turns off your mind. So it's not like an Ambien or a Zoloft where you take one of those pills and you got to spend 18 hours just to get all the sleep out so you can get up and take care of matters at hand, right? This stuff helps calm the mind down. It has the CBN in it. And I'm sure Kyle will be able to tell you about CBN and the amazing property that CBN has. But the CBN helps calm the mind and helps ease the mind so you're able to go to sleep. So when you wake up, and it's time to get up, you're not groggy, you're not drowsy, you're not tired because of the medication, right? Like your Ambiens and your Zolofts and other sleep aids that are out there, And if you guys don't know, for those of you that are taking melatonin, stop. Stop taking melatonin. Melatonin will actually create your body from stopping producing its own melatonin, natural melatonin that your body produces to help get you sleep. If you're taking over-the-counter melatonin, it will stop your body from producing a natural melatonin that helps you get to sleep. Once that's done, dude, you're screwed. They also have another product created by an Army veteran. He has, like you guys, had trouble getting sleep. It's called Night Ops. It's a pill format, so if you can't take a tincture because your stomach issues or whatever the case may be, because we all got stomach issues, we have a pill format as well that'll help you get the rest that you need, man. So go check out raffle180.com. That's Romeo Alpha Papa Hotel Alpha 180.com to get all your medicinal grade CBD needs. Check out with the Stone Vet USMC and get 15% off your entire purchase. Spend $85 or more, you get free priority shipping to your front door. That's like 2 days shipping to your front door anywhere around the country. And if you're in Oklahoma, it's like 1 day shipping, dude. You get it the next day, which is great, dude. I'm super excited, man. Hey, guess what, guys? You guys see it, right? You guys see that beautiful thing right there? That's my beautiful logo created by Shane, another jarhead. Created this logo for me. The founder of the Veteran Podcast Awards, right? You guys see that because of you guys. I was the winner last year of the 2021 Veteran Top Marine Corps Podcast Award, right? You guys watching on my YouTube channel, like I said, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. But you guys can see these beautiful awards here. Got my beautiful gold Warhammer from 2021 Top Marine Corps Podcast. I got my 2022 beautiful Crystal Chronic Palooza Top Podcast Award winner right here, man. Because of you guys, I'm able to win these amazing awards. You guys listening all around the world as well. Go over, like I said, in the description box below, or however you listen to this, if you go to the description of the episode, I'm going to have a hyperlink. I need you to go and vote. You can continue voting on a daily basis. On a daily basis, I need your votes so I can bring home some more awards. They got 2 more awards coming out. You got the top overall podcast and the top Marine Corps podcast, again, coming out. Let's bring home 2 more awards, man. Before too long, man, I'm going to have to get rid of this green screen and put a shelf up to put all the awards on because of you guys listening to my episodes on a weekly basis, right? So I'm super excited. Get over there and go to the Veteran Podcast Awards and vote for the best podcast out there because I'm going to tell you right now, I've been listening in to my competition. Ain't nobody got anything on what I got going on right now. Nobody can relate. I've been listening to some of these Marine Corps, because there's a lot of Marine Corps podcasts competing this year because they want to take my award away. But can't nobody bring you the content that I'm bringing you on a regular basis. Man, I'm super excited to be here today, man. I was super excited. So if you guys follow me on Facebook, guys, I got a ton of people who, guess what, are in the cannabis industry. We're all different types, marketing, growers, dispensaries, freaking bud tenders. I got people with medicinal benefits, understanding, and just help educate our veteran community in regards to the medicinal benefits of plant-based medicine, right? Right now, it's center focused on cannabis because guess what? We're fighting for federal legalization right now in our country. And we already know how screwed up our country is right now with everything that's going on. And so I'm super excited to be here today with my brother, another freaking jarhead who said, hey, I love this amazing plant. And I said, let's do a show together, man. Let's talk about your journey and how this plant has been saving your life and how it's allowed you to get a grasp on living what they call a normal life, right? What's going on, Kyle? How you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on, Sergeant G. Wanted to start off with you got my vote this week and the next week, so don't worry about that.
Awesome,
I know our fellow brother and sisters will follow through with that. Yeah, thanks for having me. It's wonderful. Yeah, and I'm excited that we're all here for the same thing, to expand the education base for our brothers and sisters about this beautiful plant and other plants that can bring a lot of benefits to us. So
absolutely, brother. And this is one of the things I try to educate our family on, right? Like I try to tell everybody, I said plant-based medicine has been around for thousands of years. Like seriously, thousands of years. Man, I say, them guys that were building them big-ass pyramids and all that shit in Egypt, them motherfuckers didn't go to the pharmacy and say, hey, boss, I need a muscle relaxer. My back's spazzing out on me. It's killing me. You know what I'm saying? I said they had to use plant-based medicine to deal with the aches. They had muscle spasms like we have on a regular basis. There's no pharmaceuticals around to be able to treat what they were suffering from, man. But, I mean, this is one of the greatest things that I try to help educate people on a weekly basis, right? There's like for me, man, I got Matty. He's a good buddy of mine. He's a Navy vet. He's a huge advocate for cannabis as well. And he's always, we'll talk on Messenger and stuff, and he'll send me links of cannabis-related podcasts, right? And I'll be listening to it. I was like, oh, this is good stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then I go to look at, like, the most recent stuff, and they haven't produced anything since, like, 2019. And I'm like, why'd they stop producing this content? Like, this is good content. Like, I'm learning something, and I'm like, it's like a lot of people, like after a while, they just stop, right? And I get it. It's running a podcast is hard. It's a lot of work. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort and everything like this, right? Like for me, I produce, I edit, I do everything myself. So I understand it takes time to do it, right? But I'm like, man, we have got to be able to get more of this content out there to help educate our community. I mean, for yourself, you understand, like, I mean, you got a hell of a story, man. But let's go ahead and let's introduce yourself to our audience. Let them know who you are, what brand. I already told them you a jarhead, so they already know you're the best there is in the country, right? They already know you're the best in the world because everybody's scared of you because you a Marine.
They don't even try to challenge that. The Marines are on the top, baby.
Right,
That's for
right,
sure.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But
So
let the audience know about what your MOS or your Air Force people, your job. What do they call that? I don't even know. It's not even an MOS. It's like
right, it's like a
occupational skill or
rate, something crazy
whatever.
like that.
Something stupid, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Let people know like your job, like what you did in the Marine Corps and so forth.
Yeah. Yeah. So my name is Kyle Steinberg. In 2006 is when I enlisted in the Marine Corps and became part of the family hood. Let me say that, the family hood, right?
Yeah.
I went in when I was 17, and I went in 0311. Got stuck out at Lejeune, and I was actually in country before my 18th birthday with in combat. It was great. That's where I celebrated my birthday. Youngest Marine there. I got to cut the cake, got to have an extra beer. You know, uh, but yeah, so went in the Marine Corps in 2006, became a grunt, stayed on the West Coast for the majority of my enlistment, and deployed to Iraq. Came back, got attached to headquarters as a personal security detachment for one of the colonels. So that was a really nice, interesting way to de-escalate from coming from an infantry unit and getting stood down a little bit more than the rest of my friends that didn't, right? So that's an interesting story in itself. Yeah, so got out of the Marine Corps in 2010. I was medically separated, got out and completely lost everything, right? So I went in when I was 17. So before I even got out of high school, I had this, if you will, I had this military mentality. And then so when I got out, it was really, really hard for me because I didn't even have that gap year from like high school to college to kind of find myself. I was a killing machine designed by the United States Marine Corps to take down the enemy, right? And so it was really interesting. I got out 2010. I was med sept, like I said, which allowed me to kind of go my own way and kind of do some of the GI Bill stuff and relax a little bit. But yeah, I found it super hard for numerous reasons. But anyways, we'll go back to that later. So got out of the Marine Corps, started up a adult entertainment company that ran for a little bit. We don't have to go on that one.
Entertainment company, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. And then for about the last 7 years, I've been doing Veteran X, which is providing resources, opportunities, and for veterans. Essentially, it's an all-in-one wraparound product. So a veteran can walk into veteranx.org, can get peer support, can get funds. Quick reaction funds is what we call them, QRF, right? So you can QRF request in. And that's where my passion's been for about the last 7 years. In that gap year, though, I've been living in Thailand, played in the cannabis industry for quite a few years. Sorry, I don't mean to jump around here. I've just been an entrepreneur since 21.
You've been doing a lot, though. I mean, that's what I'm saying, though. Like, you got out in 2010, right? And that's one of the biggest struggles, right? One of the biggest struggles, I believe, for our community is, like, after we get out of service. It's like I tell people, I said, regardless if you spend 4 years or 40 years, you get to the point and it's like, what the hell do I do now? Like you said, when you got out, because you joined at 17, I joined when I was 17, too. I joined when I was 17, too, And so I get it, what I'm saying? That's why I tell people, I said the Marine Corps is my mama and my daddy, dude. You know what I'm saying? They raised me to be the man I am today, and it's not good. Like it sucks, dude. It sucks, especially having a spouse and kids. It sucks, dude, because my spouse is like, "What is wrong with you?" I'm like, "I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out."
That was hard. Yeah, I was married and for about 4 years. It was rough. Like I think you brought it up last week in your podcast with Brittany. I'm sorry, last episode with Brittany. The de-escalation from like the separation of emotions that they created with us to the point where, of course, we've got the camaraderie and the love. That's what it's all about. I got your fucking back. Sorry, I got your back. Sorry.
Yeah. No.
But it's just they really need to focus on the aftercare of the individuals. They are training us for war and for something of destruction and mayhem, and then they expect us to go back to our wife at 6 p.m. at night from the field where you were literally in the zone of kill, and she wants a hug, and you're like,
what the fuck do I do now?
Yeah,
no,
great.
absolutely. Absolutely, and that's why I try to tell people, right? Everybody's like, oh, I'll get some guests on here, but like, well, I never did anything while I was in the military, or I never. I said, well, that's a blessing, dude. Like, that's a true blessing. I mean, because like back in '03 for the invasion, I was there for the invasion, and my wife said, she's like, when you came back in '03, dude, she was like, you were not the same. You were not. You were fucked up, and you've been fucked up ever since, And I was like, it sucks. It truly does suck because that's just one of those things that. I mean, I've been out since 2009, man. It's 2022 now, and it's like I'm still trying to learn. I'm still trying to figure out how do I treat this crap. How do I go and how do I do? How do I try to be that loving husband or that loving father or what? Just that's one of the biggest struggles, right? And so, one of the things that I've been learning, right, about plant-based medicine is how psilocybin helps rewire the brain, right? Like Brittany talked last week on last week's episode, she was talking about, you got that snow. If you go in the snow, you got that divot, right? And your body keeps going in that divot. But what they've been seeing is that psilocybin actually puts like a fresh sheet of snow down. So there's no more divots. So your mind just starts going the way it's supposed to, you're rewiring it. You're making your own new routes, So that's something I've been working on as well is in regards to how psilocybin, the scientific research that has been done. Because like I tell people, I said research has been done on cannabis for years. Research has been done on psilocybin. There's more research being done here in the U.S. in regards to psilocybin, And I mean, there's more states legalizing psilocybin now as well here in the U.S. And a lot of people are like, oh, I don't know. They're drugs. It's all drugs. And I'm like, what you're taking that the doctor's giving you, those are drugs. Hands down.
100%. They're drugs. Everybody's got their
drugs.
vice. It's just
Right.
picking a responsible vice or doing it responsibly, right?
Exactly.
Actually, I'm working with a nonprofit now, and but I just wanted to open up. So I live in Portland, Oregon now, and they actually last year they decriminalized quite a few, or 2 years ago. They live in an age of it. There's a list of drugs that are decriminalized, and psilocybin's on there. And so I'd say eight out of 20 of my friends are all microdosing currently for medicinal purposes using plant medicine. And that's what I really like about Oregon is there's a lot of research here right now on psilocybin. And I personally microdose, not every day, or, I take the tolerance breaks, do a nice scheduled routine with it. But I used to have really bad migraines too. And I would trip once a month, if you'll allow me to use that term, take a big enough dose to react, right? And my migraines were good for the next month, Wow. So once a month I was taking a dose, and then, but that as a medicinal feature would carry through for 30 days,
Right. No, absolutely. And that's one of the things, right? I mean, that's one of the things that I've been learning as well is microdosing, right? For me, like it's like I talked to Brittany about last week, I was like, I had a bad trip one time. And she's like, don't think of it as a bad trip. She just says you had a bad journey. You just had a bad journey. And it's like they say, though, when you start using like psilocybin and stuff, you have to be in the right mindset. Like you can't have a lot of crap going on, because if not, you're going to have a bad journey. You're going to have a bad trip, and it's going to scare the crap out of you, And like
right.
For me, I had one and I was like, I can't do this no more. I can't be doing this. And she's like, you got to think about when you start using plant-based medicine, whether it's cannabis or psilocybin or all the other amazing plant-based medicine, you got to think of why are you doing this? Are you doing this just to indulge and enjoy, or are you doing this to actually find a medicinal benefit? And so for myself,
Right.
I've been making my own capsules, and I was like, I'll just take this before bed, right? Because how else are you going to repair your body? How are you going to repair your body? How better way, right? If you're resting. And I was like, so I'm not awake during, if I do have a bad journey, I'm asleep. But my
Right.
mind is still getting the medicine it needs to repair itself. So hopefully I can wake up and be like, oh, okay, I feel a lot better now.
So do you experience, when you follow that routine, do you experience more of a introspectual view, like in the sense of, do you wake up the next morning questioning reality, if you will, questioning things? Because I use it for very much so too. I feel like using it once every 6 months is kind of like opening to reality, to grounding, if you will. Psilocybin, especially, they tie me to nature. And so when you do that, when you're sleeping, do you wake up with that mindset, or is it clear?
For me, it's more of a clear, right? And I get where you're coming from. Like Like if you're doing it like a once every 6 month thing, it would be like a reset. Like, let me reset myself.
Sure. Sure.
I gotta, get my mind right, right? Because I mean, it's like I tell everybody listening in on the show is like, dude, we live life, and life is hard, man. Like, regardless if you're married, you got a boyfriend, got a girlfriend, you got kids, whatever, right? You wake up, you go to work, you make money, and you're like, damn, I didn't make enough money this week to pay all my bills. I got to make sure I got enough food on the table. I got to make sure I got enough gas in the car. I got to make sure, I got a roof over my head. Everything, right? There's just the stressors of being an adult, And
Definitely.
there's some days you're just like, this just sucks, right? But I think that's where plant-based medicine comes into play, right? Where it comes help, right? Like I tell people, I mean, especially with cannabis for myself, I love the way cannabis makes me feel, dude. I love the way it makes me feel, And my
Definitely.
children are well aware, of my consumption of cannabis, right? Because they'll even come up to me and say, Dad, have you smoked? No. They're like, can you go smoke? Because if I'm high strung or if I'm yelling or whatever, they're like, Dad, can you go smoke so you can chill and they understand, right, of the medicinal benefits that it does provide, right? And that's one of the
Right.
things we struggle with, right? As veterans, we're freaking high strung and we're freaking angry all the time at everything, And that's why I
Totally.
use that's why I use the psilocybin and I use the cannabis because it helps rewire the brain, helps calm the mind, And that's why I try to tell people. I'm like, dude, I said when I was going to work, I was going to work high every day. But what it allowed me to do, it allowed me to focus on my job, get done what needed to get done. I was chill, I was relaxed, nobody stressed me out, and I was able just to get my work done. I wasn't so stoned where I was just fucking, I ain't doing shit, I'm just gonna watch TV and veg out. There's a time and a place for that. But it's like I
Yep.
tell you guys that drink, right? You guys go to lunch and you guys have a couple of beers, you're like, yeah, I feel good now, right? But it's wrong if I go and smoke a blunt at lunch, right? After I get done eating, if I want to smoke a blunt, it's wrong. But you guys can have 3 or 4 beers at lunch, and be a little bit intoxicated, right?
And God forbid you grab a weed off the ground though and dry it,
Right?
Yeah.
And try it out.
Um, yeah, I wanted to touch back real quick. I think it's really cool that you're open with your family about it and your children are interacting. But I think what you just proved is that you've educated your children on it, and I think that's really important. Is coming up into the world we're coming up into is the kids need to understand that it can be used medicinally and recreationally, but the medicinal purpose of it outweigh. So this is a real story, right, from the core. I don't really like to talk about it too much because it involves other parties, but I was at the armory one day and one of my squad leaders shot me in the face with a blank round, right?
Oh,
Intense, right? So anyways, I occurred a little bit of post-traumatic injury from this, right? So I was real timid around weapons and just trust issues. The trust was gone. It was my squad leader,
shit.
and so I got out of the Marine Corps and I was still taking handfuls of medications at this point. And one day I decided that I was just going to try to smoke a blunt to relax. And it was very interesting because, like you said, Brittany, on the last episode, it was very much so a hallucinogenic experience for me. The first blunt I had after the Marine Corps, right? 4 years, no smoking.
Right.
Hit the blunt, boom. And I had consciously decided at that point that I was going to try cannabis over all my medications. And I went off of Wellbutrin. Not saying anybody should do this, of course.
No.
Consult your
No,
physician.
that's one thing I tell my audience, right? I said if you're gonna try cannabis and you're said because I mean a majority of people, like you said, you are on a handful of medication. A lot of you guys listening in on the show, how many pills are you taking a day? 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 pills a day because of everything you're dealing with, right? And like Kyle's saying, that's why I tell you guys, if you guys are gonna start using cannabis, incorporate it with all the pills you're already taking, and then after so long, start figuring out what pills you don't need to be taking.
Right. And we didn't really touch upon it too much, but I became so I got put on medications in the Marine Corps, and I became addicted to opiates while in the Marine Corps. And I put myself through treatment, the Marine Corps substance rehabilitation program. So it's amazing how many veterans are still addicted to these substances and haven't had the support network to get off of them because the military was so heavy to throw us on to medications. There's no, I would talk to one veteran the other day, and he has been on antidepressants for 11 years without a reevaluation. That's a tool meant for a short period, right? Keep you going for the next few months, wean you off. And so there's just no congruency with that. But as cannabis, so I weaned myself off over 2-week course, maybe a month, I can't remember. I have a pretty strong mentality about, changing my life. but yeah, weaned off, and I have been smoking cannabis for probably close to like 10 to 12 years now, and I haven't touched any pills. So for me, it was an exit drug from that other area of life, as you had mentioned earlier, right? I was, but it had to, so I had to open my eyes to it and experience that it wasn't a drug, or it's a drug. Sorry, don't get me wrong, but it's a medicinal. There's a medicinal purpose to it, right?
Mhm.
And that was pretty eye opening for me, and I've become a huge advocate for it, specifically for traumatic experiences, and I think it has long term effects that allow you to relax in the moment and really evaluate the situation rather than fight or flight, fight or flight,
Right.
fight or flight, fight or flight, right?
Right. No,
So,
absolutely, absolutely, brother. And like you said, you had a psychedelic experience your first time using it, which is great, right? Because I never even knew, like, until I started talking with Brittany, I never knew you can get a psychedelic experience from cannabis, right? And she's like, no, you can, absolutely can. And she showed the book, the psychedelic cannabis book that McQueen wrote, and I was like, huh. I gotta look into this. She's like, no, she said, and she does classes, right? That's what part of her White Rabbit Collective is that she teaches people how to do this stuff, right? She shows them the breathing technique, because it's one of the biggest things, right? She's not the only one. People tell me about breathworks all the time. Like, they said it's amazing. Like, it does amazing things for your body and stuff. Even my wife tells me, you have got to learn how to breathe. You have got to meditate and take these breathwork. I was like, I don't have time for that shit. Like, where the hell am I gonna find time for that? But it's true, because Brittany was saying that your body contains DMT, which is an amazing
mhm,
substance,
mhm,
and what it does, it releases little bits of DMT, so you can get that psychedelic effects while using cannabis. And
interesting.
I was like, I'm said, when you're done with your baby for a little bit, I'm gonna hit you up and we're gonna try this out, because I want to try it. I want to see. Because that's my goal, is to figure out. I got to figure this out, right? I'm almost 40 years old now, and I'm like, I've got to figure something out, right? My relationships with my spouse sucks. My relationship with my kids suck, and they're always like, Dad, Dad. And I'm like, I'm 40 years old. I have got to figure, how can I use plant-based medicine to help me treat the ailments that I suffered while serving my country, right? And that's one of the biggest things I tell you guys, man. I don't care if you didn't go to Iraq, you didn't go to Afghanistan, you didn't do any of that. You still suffer from PTSD. That's one of the biggest struggles, man, is that when you go to boot camp, especially Marine Corps boot camp, right? They break you down till you feel like you're absolutely nothing, and then they build you back up to what they need you to be that badass Marine that everybody sees. And it's like I tell you guys, they tell you if you become emotionally connected, you die. So they sever those emotional ties to anything. That's why I tell you guys, we suck at being friends. We suck at reaching out to each other. We suck at talking to each other on a regular basis, right? When you're in service, you're with that sorry SOB every day. So you're able to talk with them, BS with them. You're doing it, going to the smoke pit together. You're doing everything with your brother or your sister. But when you get out of service, you're not there with them anymore. And guess what? You're going to work. You're taking kids to baseball practice, soccer practice, drum practice, guitar practice, ballet practice. You're going to freaking grocery shop. You're doing this. And by the time you know it, it's 11 o'clock at night. And you're like, I did nothing today. I went to work and I took the kids everywhere else doing everything else. And I didn't get time to talk to my boy today. And it sucks.
Totally.
It does. It sucks, right? But we have to try to figure out, man, even if you sit, that's why I say when I'm sitting on the crapper, I'll try to start texting people while I'm sitting on the crapper. Hey, man, I was thinking about you. Make sure, how you doing today? I want to see, I got a minute. I wanted to see what you've been up to. But that's one of the things I tell you guys about. And with Kyle here, man, he's telling you, right, he suffered, right? He'll even tell you, right, just like a majority of us when we get out of service, right, a lot of us become drug addicts. We get out of service, we're trying to find ourselves, right? And Kyle, you were telling me earlier that's one of the things you suffered real bad with, right?
We would like to give a huge thanks to Rafa 180. Rafa 180 offers pure medicinal CBD and products made locally. They walk alongside individuals to achieve a healthy lifestyle with options needed by each person. You can learn more about them on Facebook at Rafa CBD, their website www.rafa180.com, or email at rafacbd@gmail.com. They truly believe your journey matters.
Yeah. Getting out and just not knowing how to. Now I've stayed cleaned off of opiates, and I've been really respectful of that as a personal choice. And but other drugs, what I found is that when I fell into my addictions, and I'm in recovery, is I guess how we say it, right? I'm in recovery because I could slip up any money and go down that
Right.
manic, depressive, isolative, self-loathing guilt trip if I wanted, right?
That we all
But
go
what I
through. That we
found,
all can go through, right? Yeah, yeah.
right, right, it's that conscious decision. But what I found was that when I was using, methamphetamines and so forth, is it would take my mind out of the moment. Yeah, I'd be awake for 4 days, right, and wouldn't be able to articulate myself, and I'd be hallucinating. But I wouldn't be thinking about the stuff that I didn't want to think about.
Right.
And I had to deal with those demons a different way and realize that, and cannabis has been extremely beneficial for that as well. Talking through some situations about stuff and being able to smoke a joint at the same time. And I think they call it DIE. It's a type of, I'm sorry, it's a type of therapy. And so you're trying to reform your pathways over the bad thoughts. So you think of PTSD and then you think of a good thought and try to change that pathway to refuse. And I think cannabis is really a benefit for that, for the drug aspect. So I was using drugs to suppress and hide everything. And then one day I woke up and I was like, nah, I just got to face these demons because they can't have control over my life anymore. Right. And so I've had experience in drugs and chronic homelessness, man. When I got out of the Marine Corps, I was 21, no family backing me. My family left me. That's a whole different story. So I'm alone, walk out the gate alone. I say goodbye to my friends, so I'm not going to talk to for another 5 years to get in touch to.
Right.
And man, it ate me up. I was homeless for 2 years, living on the street. And then, I still have issues. So if I get depressed and stuff, I'll just walk away from my house. It's that bad, the manic depression's with me. And that all relates back. And so that's why I use cannabis daily, keep my mindset in a good frame, trying to be more social, working on it. But yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to jump off topic. But yeah, drugs are really bad, and currently I work with a nonprofit called Do Good Multnomah, and they're a housing first organization, meaning instead of working on the treatment of the addiction of the individual, let's get the veteran housed first. Let's get him in a house, then we'll provide some peer support for him. But serious numbers right here, okay? Serious numbers. Out of 100 participants in my program, 90 of them are addicts.
No, absolutely, brother. And I mean, that's one of the biggest things. Like the guys that are listening in on the show, right? You guys listening in, a lot of those guys, dude, you'd be like, damn, dude, like coke, crack, crank, meth, freaking, they're all
anything to get that hype. Where's the hype again? I need the hype.
It's that adrenaline, right? Where you're so used to that adrenaline, go, 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 go. That's what they're trying to find and replenish it. Is that adrenaline, right?
Exactly. Yeah, and also for everybody that's listening, I want to, you guys can reach out to me anytime and we can work on it if you want to get sober or if you're tired of waking up and taking pills every day. We can talk about some plant-based medications, right, to replace it. Yeah. I'm so sorry to hop back here. I just moved back from Thailand and I wanted to talk about the plant-based medicine there. They're way more holistic. So when you go to a pharmacy, they've got like ginger root and mint and so forth like that. And this last couple of years was my first experience really with other plant-based medicines. And I loved it. It's been great. My body feels way better than.
No, absolutely, right. And a lot of people don't understand that. Like you're in Thailand, right? And so in Thailand, I'm sure everything's more plant-based, right? More plant-based medicine, like you're saying. And it's almost like a detox, right? It's almost like a detox when you spend that much time in another country and are actually trying to get yourself, trying to treat yourself for your different ailments that you suffer from, right? And I'm sure being over there and learning how they treat different ailments that you suffer from, it's like a detox, right? And then you come back and you're like, damn, I feel good. Like I'm back and I feel good, right?
Yeah, true story, brother. And I actually started traveling because I had a lot of, and this is real stuff here. So I had a lot of problems with adapting from PTSD. I would get really nervous around certain people and crowds and so forth. And so I was like, I'm going to go to North Africa and I'm going to go live with Muslims for 6 months in a community. And so I moved to Africa for 6 months to try to fix some of the PTSD I had related to clothing, right? Like my head had related someone wearing a hijab or a burqa to something like my whole world was going to end, right? And so I've found a lot of benefits in traveling too, is like I went and submerged myself in the culture And it was beautiful. Everybody was so beautiful. And like, that's what I want people to remember too, you know, it's,
Right.
they were just fighting for their homelands too, you know,
No, absolutely.
and
Yeah.
yeah. And, but that really helped my PTSD. And I just want to mention that if anybody wants to go travel or something, I had a really good experience not waking up in America, hearing English every day. That really helped with the triggers, you know, in the sense of no one's asking me every day, hey, how many people have you killed? Hey, you went to war, you know? And so that was a really benefit. Traveling gave me a break from, you know, some of the triggers that are aligned in America. And I noticed that when I
No, right.
left.
No,
Yeah. So I just,
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, being able to do something like that, I mean, that's awesome. That's outstanding that you're able to identify what your triggers were and to figure out what is
sure.
it that I can do to treat these triggers, right? Because there's a lot of things we suffer from, right? We all of us have triggers. You guys listening in, you guys already know that there are a bunch. We all have triggers for whatever it is. Like you said, seeing somebody wearing a hijab or whatever, you know what I'm saying, a turban or whatever, and you're just like, oh, this guy's gonna try to kill me or something, right? Or you're driving down the road and there's a fucking trash bag on the side of the road, and you're just like, oh shit, what the? I can't drive close to that. It's gonna blow up or something, right? I mean, there's just different triggers that we have as veterans. It's just, I mean, loud noises, fucking sitting down in a restaurant, walking into a grocery store. We all have our triggers. We all, like I said, we all suffer from PTS, and it sucks, dude, because a lot of it's like, how do I treat this? How do I go about treating this nonsense? You know, because guess what? Your VA doctors already gave you medication for it to help treat these things, right?
Yeah.
You know, and for one of the things, like for me, I mean, for my things, if I like me, I hate going somewhere and I don't know anybody, I don't know the people that are there, but it's my wife and it's her friends, right? And she wants me to come along and tag along, and I'm just like, fuck, I don't even know, because I don't like being in a room with a bunch of people that I don't know, right? And so for me, I was like, damn, I wish I could smoke, because if I can smoke, it calms me down, it calms my mind down, it calms me down, and I'm able to interact with people, right? Like you're supposed to, as a normal person, you're supposed to interact with strangers, right? But
Right.
us as veterans, we're like, I ain't interact. If you're not a vet, I'm not interacting with you. I'm not going to talk to you. Like you can't relate to anything that I've been through and I've done, right? And my wife's like, you got to get out of that mindset. You know, you have to get out of that mindset saying, well, you don't know, you know, and because that's one of the things I struggle with, right? I try to tell her going to church and stuff. I'm like, I don't know how to talk to these people. Like, they don't know what I've been through. They don't know what I've done. They don't know what I've seen. Like, how am I supposed to relate to somebody that's never had to struggle? You know, never had to dig a foxhole and struggle. You know, live outside
Yeah.
when it's freaking 20 degrees outside and raining. You know,
Totally. Totally. And
it's
this is, you know, one of the reasons I opened Veteran X, very important. And I want everybody to understand that if you go to veteranx.org, there's a chat feature, a phone feature, and you can get a hold of another veteran at any point, because that's what I noticed too, right? And I just want to bounce to an experience I had yesterday. Um, the nonprofit I'm working for has majority civilian staff, but they had this one Vietnam veteran that just wouldn't work with the civilian staff for some reason. But I approached him yesterday. And I was like, "What's up, brother?" You know, and he's like, "Oh, you know, I effing hate the military. I effing hate the government. You know, screw the VA, all this stuff." And I was like, "Listen, brother, you know, I'm here to help you 100%. Let's talk about our story. Let's tell our worst story to each other. I'm so sorry. Let's tell our worst story to each other real quick. You know, from combat or whatever." And what I'm sharing here is that veteran didn't open up with any of those civilians. Yet when another veteran sat down with him and had a real conversation, a real talk, he was able to get some stuff out of his chest. You know, he's been holding in there for years.
right.
And so I'm a huge advocate for peer support too. I think this term's very new the last few years, but a peer support is just somebody that has experienced and overcame some situations that might be benefit, right? The other individual. Drugs is a good area. PTSD is a great area, you know. A lot of the veterans I work with don't have schedules and routines. Well, how are you
Right.
expecting to get your head straight if you can't even manage waking up on the same time every day, you
Right.
know? It's like these little basic things. But I would say if anybody, you know, if anybody's struggling, needs to talk to somebody, a peer support program has been really beneficial for me. And all the other veterans I've seen, because we are able to discuss stuff like this. We all know about how we all have a form of post-traumatic stress from just boot camp. You know, we
Right.
don't have to
Right.
get
Right.
into those stories. We're all
No.
messed up.
Right. No, absolutely, bro. Absolutely. And I mean, with all that, I mean, that's one of the biggest things, right? And for yourself, I mean, you just said you went to Thailand. I remember when we were talking earlier. You said you went to Thailand. You actually help with the legalization of cannabis in Thailand, man. Like, I mean, that's outstanding, brother. I mean, to be able to go to another country that you're not even freaking a resident of and being able to help educate the population there. I mean, to understand that, hey, let's talk about this. Let's talk about getting this legalized here, right? Because I mean, it's a movement. A lot of people may not know, but it's a movement around the world going on right now in regards to cannabis. Because I never realized how illegal this plant is around the world, let alone the U.S. You know, and so with regards to that, I mean, you talking about peer-to-peer support and your stories, right? That's one of the great things about peer-to-peer support. You tell your story. And I mean, with your story about being able to go to another country and help live, I mean, that's a hell of a story to be able to tell somebody. Like, I did that, you know. I was able to go to this country and help, you know, become the first cannabis store, right?
Foreigner, but yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, this happened about 2 years ago. Now it's been open. It's called Lumex Cannabis Cafe out of Phuket, Thailand. And yeah, so what I realized was I was still buying it illegally right at the point, just, you know, using it medicinally, but everybody was smoking, right? Everybody smokes, everybody has fun and relaxes in their free time. And I saw this little cusp of them talking about it in the hierarchy of Thailand. Anyway, so I hired 5 law firms. There's no cannabis lawyers at this point. And then we negotiated the route for me to take. But yeah, I am the first foreigner to ever have a cannabis license for resale and a cannabis cafe in Phuket, Thailand. It was a very interesting experience, and it's a way different system, right? So not only did I have to approach it from an education point, because like you said, in the Philippines, it's a death sentence for a joint, right? So I had to approach it from, hey, look at the medicinal purposes of it standpoint. Not only that, what it can do for your economy, right? Think about all the jobs you're going to create when you do this. And so it was really interesting working internationally because it's not American laws, you know, and essentially you have to go backdoor it. And it was an interesting adventure. But yeah, and now they just legalized fully 4 months ago. And so now they've got mobile dispensary cars in the jungles, just random places. And it really exploded. And I'm excited because I haven't been there since legalization. I've been back in the States right at the same time. I got back to the United States when that happened. And yeah, no, it's exciting to see it happen. I'm sorry I'm not there to enjoying all the festivities, but I'm sure they'll still be around.
Oh no, absolutely. But I mean, just that stories like that, brother. Just being able to say these things. Because I mean, I checked. You know, I looked it up and I looked at. You know, you had me send me over your profile to check you out. I mean, you've done a lot. I mean, you've got an education. You've been an entrepreneur since you've gotten out of the Corps, right? Because a lot of veterans, when they get out of service, they do become entrepreneurs. And if you guys have been watching my show for the 2 years that I've been out here now, you guys understood the first year I started this, I brought on veterans who became entrepreneurs, right? Because a lot of us are like, I ain't fucking working for anybody ever again. That was enough. I ain't never doing that again.
I can't work for them. Yeah.
You know, and so I brought on entrepreneurs, veterans who have started their own small business and who are doing things to support their family, right? And to give other veterans insight as like, oh, I could do that. I think I could do that. I can try that. Let me try that. Let me see if I can do that, right? And so I brought on a lot of veterans, right? And that's one of the biggest things, right? Is that you as an entrepreneur, you have been doing a lot with a lot of nonprofits, starting helping with the legalization of cannabis in a foreign country, and now here in the U.S., working in the cannabis industry and working with nonprofits here to help our veteran community, which is freaking just as amazing, right? Because I mean, you have found your purpose, you know, and that's one of the biggest things I think our brothers and sisters are struggling with, right? Is like, how do I find a purpose? How do I figure out what I'm supposed to do now? Nobody's telling me what to do, how to do it. What's the uniform of the day, or how do I do this, or how do I do that? How do you go about? How do you, as an entrepreneur, figure out, okay, this is what I got to be doing, right?
Sure. And I think for me, it's been very, like you said, it's passion for me, right? So cannabis saved my life. My friends saved my life. My brothers and sisters saved my life too, right? Don't get it wrong. So like you said, I was able to narrow down my passion. Don't get me wrong. I still battle a lot of depression, a lot of guilt and remorse, and at any point, you know, it could be overwhelming to where I step away. But it was very important for me. And I just want to start at the basics. So even though I consider myself a successful entrepreneur, multiple ventures, sold them, have some, whatever. What's crazy is that at any freaking moment, my head will switch and I'll walk away from it and my life will just go to ruins, right? So this time, and the majority of times, what I have to do is find my passion again, even though I know what it is. And I go back to really basic stuff like printing off a passion worksheet off of Google, like answering 10 questions. What is a passion? I didn't remember what a passion was. You could have said, what's your goal? What do you want in life? And I would have been like, to live till tomorrow, maybe.
Right.
No, let's not even do that, And so realigning and just doing a worksheet and taking it back to elementary school for myself, a SMART goal sheet and a passion worksheet. And it took me a few days to fill it out. But that was probably one of the biggest benefits is every day I could look at that paper and remember what I was working towards. If the depression kicked in, I could look at the paper and remember that was my routine for the day. The depression was just the side effect, right? And I had to overcome that portion of it. Right. But I was focused on my task because that's what we do. We get the mission accomplished. All veterans, right? All military. Adapt and overcome and complete the mission. And as long as I saw that in front of me, so I think that's important, people finding their passion and then looking into that before they step into the arena of the entrepreneurship and philanthropy area. Because I do, I've sold these companies, but I gave all my money back to my fellow brother and sister veterans in the way of food, housing, and multiple things. And so that's one thing I've done is I've dedicated my whole life to saving the 22 a day. That's really important to me. And so, yeah, I just wanted to touch that. I mean, I think for me, like you said, I found my passion and I'm able to put everything into it. Even when work's over, I'm still feel so rewarded with just helping the people that have helped me my whole life,
And that's awesome, brother. And I think that's one of the biggest struggles, right? That's one of the biggest things, Like I tell people, I had Travis Johnson on my show a year ago or so. He's a good brother of mine here. He's a retired Navy lieutenant here in Oklahoma, close to me. And he's like, there's approximately about 15,000, I think he said 15,000 veteran nonprofits in the U.S., right? And I'm like, God, that's a lot. It may be more. It's probably more, but I was like, that's a lot. You know what I'm saying? I said, he's like, you probably didn't even know that, did you? I was like, nah, I didn't even. Like, your main ones, Wounded Warrior, VFW, Foreign War Veteran, just different small nonprofits, but not. I was like, that's a lot of freaking nonprofits, And I was like, that's insane. But I mean, that's why I tell people you have got to get out into your community and figure out what is out there, right? Find a passion. Go help a nonprofit. Figure out what a nonprofit is doing and see how can you help them, because it can help you find your purpose and help you have a better understanding about what you're doing now. And then you're saying here, like you just started you started a nonprofit called Veteran X, right? What got you started? What got you started with that?
Hey, I'm going to put you in a real story here, right? Okay, so Ramadi, Iraq, 2007, something like that. Shots were fired, blah, blah, blah. I'm in downtown Portland like 7 years ago, and I knew a food cart owner, and he was like, hey, my cousin's here from Iraq, Ramadi, you want to meet him? And I was like, yeah, let's meet. And it was the most intense moment I'd ever had. Neither of us were smiling. Neither of us shook hands. And the first thing he said to me was, your bomb killed my whole family. And I was like, well, that wasn't me. But by the end of the conversation, well, we can go to the end of it. We were both smiling, shook hands, and parted ways. And that really opened my eyes to life. And so the first project I started right before Veteran X was called the World Veterans Organization. And I was working with veterans, specifically with PTSD related to combat, and linking them with people that were willing to talk to them from that area, from their AO during that combat. Right? So an example would be Vietnam. Maybe you're in the Vietnam War and you wanted to speak to a Vietnam soldier, a Vietnamese soldier from the same time frame. It might heal you. It might help your problems, right? Maybe you need to discuss with these people and see that they're humans. They're not just there to kill you. Yeah, just like you. Right. Yeah. But so then it rolled into Veteran X, and I took complete. I'm a co-founder of Veteran X, actually. Me and another Marine named Daniel started it. He's out of Oklahoma as well. He stepped down about 5 years ago, and I took complete control over it. But the goal of it was really just to give an ear. So I had a little extra money from selling a cannabis company, and I decided that I wanted to use that money for philanthropic actions towards veterans. So, I started up the phone line, which is the 24-hour assistance. You can reach out for peer support or anything. You can call the number for anything. then we moved into the peer support, and I just saw such a overwhelming benefit to the peer support. So what got me into it was kind of, you were saying earlier, you need to go to your community and see what your community needs. How can you help them? And so I think it's funny. I started out with one project and it completely reverted to something else. What it turned into was a peer-to-peer support for veterans in the US, but I had created it for an international product connection. And so that's in our eyes, including the board and all my staff at VeteranX, we think our sole mission is to locate all military veterans, unite them in a cohesive manner online, and provide supportive services for each other. And that means freaking anything, from talking to light bills to electric to transportation to anything. And the staff is dedicated to helping with just that, So it's kind of a new product, and we did it kind of weird. We do ask that everybody pays a membership of $2.22 or $4.22 for the 22.
Right.
And all that money goes back into the QRF fund for the other veterans to have access during emergency situations and so forth. So it's an interesting product.
No, absolutely, brother. And that's one of the biggest things, right? That's one of the biggest things that people are unaware of services of like what you're providing, right? Because that's what I tell people. I say, you get out of service, right? Like you said, you got out and you're like, I didn't have any family. Wasn't talking to anybody anymore, right? There's not a website out there that says, hey, here are the resources you can use. Here's the resources. What state you moving to? Here are the resources in this state that can provide you assistance if you ever need assistance, right? There's nothing like that. You have to figure it out on your own, right? And since I'm doing this podcast, I never knew. I was never aware. I mean, Eric Stamper where's he out of? He's on the East Coast. I want to say out of Virginia. Or Maryland. He's out of Maryland. He's a founder of a Veteran Initiative 22, right? Similar, and he does a bunch of things in the cannabis industry as well as help similar to what VetX is doing, right? He helps veterans get their cannabis cards or helps assist with bills and stuff like that. But like I said, you aren't aware of all the freaking veteran nonprofits in the area, right? In your state, there's a ton. You don't even realize it, right? And
right.
I'm like, there's no resource out there. There's no website. There's nothing out there telling you, hey, this is here to help you, right? Nobody knows, right? And like you just showed me VetX. I didn't even know that was something that was out there until you sent it to me, right?
Sure.
It's all about all of us working together, saying, "Hey, dude, have you looked into this? Have you checked this out? There's this right here, You what's his name? Brian Buckley out of San Diego. He owns Battle Brothers Foundation. That's another veteran nonprofit, Another jarhead that's down there, And so there's a ton out there, and that's one of the things is that we have got to go out there and help support these nonprofits, right? Because they're helping support us. Go out there and make a small donation, $5, $2 donation, whatever the case may be. It helps, right? If 300 people gave $2, I mean, it's going to go a long way. It's going to help a veteran with paying his bills, or making sure he's got a meal on the table for that night, or whatever the case may be. And so, with what you're doing with VetX, I mean, it's outstanding because, like you said, you're helping unite veterans regardless of what country they're from to be able to sit down with us, right? Because they look at us and we're the devil. We killed their family. We did this. And we're like,
right.
Well, I mean, we're doing a job just like you.
And I think, and I've actually never had a bad experience setting people up like that either. It's always been beneficial because they get, if you were in that sort of situation, we'll just relate to combat, you didn't get to look in the eyes of the person. I hope not. I hope you didn't get to look in the eyes of the person when it happened, right? And so I think that's what helps a lot is seeing an actual person on the other side. And, no, totally. Yeah. But, no, I agree. It's been an interesting journey, coming back from all that, and I'm still not there, but.
I mean, but you're getting there, right? You're using it. You're understanding, right? You're using cannabis as plant-based medicines to help realign your mind and help set yourself up. You're getting you got off the pharmaceuticals by using this amazing plant to be able to be like, all right, I think it's time to go smoke. Or I think it's time to take an edible or something, right? Be like,
sure.
I gotta relax. I gotta chill. I gotta just calm down and just get my mind right. And that's one of the biggest things that I like to tell our community, right? Is like, it literally is a lifesaver. You want to know what cannabis is? It's an extra drug. It's an exit from all the pharmaceuticals and all the alcohol that you consume on a daily basis. It's like I tell people, you guys like to have a glass of wine with dinner. I like to smoke a joint with dinner. I mean,
right. Yeah, no, and it's funny too, because like, you know, I drink every now and again, but I don't normally mix them. It's one or the other, right? You choose a
Yeah,
beer or
yeah,
you choose the joint for the night, you know?
yeah. Right, right. And that's what I tell people. I said the difference between me and you, if you overindulge, you ain't waking up the next morning. If I overindulge, I feel like, damn, I got some good sleep last night.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm gonna get my
don't even
ass
want to
off
get
it.
out of bed.
Right, I got some good sleep last night. Let's go take
I,
care of some. Let me light up another joint. I got some yard work I got to do.
yeah, I actually I should have brought one in here with me. I'm actually on like a soda, so I do a soda every night, a THC soda.
Oh,
And
really?
it's a full spectrum pool. You know, it's got CBN, CBG, uh, quite a few. And you had brought up the terpene thing last week on your episode with Brittany as well, or your last episode. But I'm really loving that. So what I've been doing is I'm trying to cut back on inhalation so much, not smoking so much cannabis as much as ingesting it.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so
yeah.
I'll smoke in the morning, afternoon, but at night I've been drinking 50 milligram sodas, and I've
Oh,
noticed a
wow.
really big difference carrying it into the next morning.
Oh,
Is I'm not
really?
like cloudy or anything, but I just when I wake up, I'm calm compared
Right,
to when I smoke and I go to sleep. I wake up, I'll be, you know, lights.
right.
You know, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
really digging the sodas though. I don't know how much if you've had experience with the sodas
No,
at all,
not yet.
but it's just a amazing way to take it. You know, you don't sit there and cough, and it really takes a nice effect on your body. But you know how
No,
edibles are.
absolutely, yeah, and that's what I love about edibles itself. And that's what I love about edibles is how what I'm saying. You do inhalation, it's for the immediate boom. I'm high, right? But
Right.
if you take an edible, right, it's got to go through the liver and everything else, get into the bloodstream, and then you feel it, and that high
And
is
your
gonna
body's
last a lot longer. Yeah, the high is
yeah,
gonna
and
be
it's
a
cool.
lot longer. It's gonna last you a lot longer versus the hour or whatever you are when you smoke, which is a great. And it's like I tell people, and if you indulge it, like you said, it's got CBN, CBD, and THC, and I said you're getting the entourage effect, and the entourage effect is what we all need to achieve when we're consuming cannabis. Honestly, that's how you replenish your endocannabinoid system. And so that's what I try to tell people is that, hey, look into it. I said, you don't believe me about this endocannabinoid system we have? I said, go to a government website, nih.gov. Yes, it's a government website, and type in the search bar endocannabinoid. It's going to tell you everything about the endocannabinoid system. It's in the government website. I'm not lying to
Yep.
you. You have
There
to
was
replenish your, you know.
I think it was John Hopkins University a few years back. They recognized it in their curriculum at
Yeah.
the medical school, and I thought that was so awesome that they'd finally, after all these years,
All these
recognized that
years,
there's an
right?
endocannabinoid system in the medical
Right.
text.
No,
Yeah,
absolutely, brother. Absolutely. And that's one thing I try to that's why I want to educate our community about is just understanding, dude. Like this is medicine. This is how it helps you live this normal life, man.
yeah, and really about the dosing. You know, we were talking earlier about how there hasn't been a lot of research coming out in the last few years as far as America. But what I found interesting was there was a really nice paper put out from Thailand 6 months ago, and I'd love to send it over to you so you could like maybe post it up for people
Oh
to
yeah,
see.
yeah, absolutely.
But it brought up a lot of statistics, and this would be not controversy, uh, but they're saying they're saying that it might slightly link to depression. And I find that very interesting. And I think that's because we're going for like a really high THC profile and taking away the CBDs.
Mm.
And if you notice it a lot in paranoia with THC and psychotropic actions, right? If you give the patient or the person consuming pure THC, they tend to have a more panicky, frantic high.
And
When
that
you
depends on
induce the
the,
CBDs,
the terpenes and stuff like that. Depending if it's a sativa or indica or a hybrid or whatever the case may be. Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
But I think it's so important that you have a full spectrum
Yep.
pool. Like you don't just get the highest THC. You want everything in the plant in your
See,
body,
guys,
you
I'm
know?
not the only one telling you this, right? I tell you guys all the time, you don't want the highest THC content. You want to have the highest terpene content. You want to have the highest CBDs. You want to make sure that you got the best terpene profile for what you're dealing with. You want to make sure hopefully it's full spectrum, and you want to see
Yes.
how much CBD, CBG, CBN that it has in it. You don't want the highest THC content, like he said. Can it cause depression? Yeah, if you got a strong freaking indica blend, I'm sure it's gonna cause you some depression. If you got a high
Yeah,
sativa blend,
exactly. Yeah,
it's gonna cause
and
you some anxiety.
sure.
Absolutely.
But I think we have to identify everything with the plant-based medicine, specifically cannabis. We're going to discuss it, right? There's pros and there's always a few cons. And
Right.
so I just wanted to bring that up. that that paper had cited that there was 14.2% had experienced a little bit of depression. And I found that really interesting. So I'd love to see some more data to compare that to.
Yeah, absolutely.
But when I stop smoking, if I take like a tolerance break for like 3 or 4 days or something, I get a little bit.
Yeah,
so,
no, I bet. Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
It's true.
Interesting.
It's true. Trust me. I've been off for 2 years, and I'm like, this sucks.
You're so close to getting back. Look how close it is beside you right there.
I know it's almost there. I'm super excited. It's almost there, man. So hey, we're getting close to the end of the show, Kyle. How do you want to leave our audience? How do you want them to make sure they check you out and everything with this you're doing?
Hey, sure. Yeah. So if you guys want to know any more information, you can hit up hq@veteranx.org, and I'll answer your emails through there, or you can call the number of VeteranX. I want to leave you guys with that. I got your 6. Don't worry about it. This is life. We're all in this together. And I promise if you want to make it through, you will. You just got to fight a little bit, but you can overcome, adapt, and create the life you want with the medications you want. And and I'm here for you anytime, you guys. Anybody can call me anytime. And I appreciate all you guys have done for America and for each other. And let's stick together. Let's keep sticking together, because the VA ain't doing shit for us. The government ain't doing nothing for us. So let's fight for each other and make sure that we are taken care of. And I love all you guys very much.
No, absolutely, brother. I truly appreciate it, man. Like I tell you guys every week, I'm going to have Kyle's, all his contact information, his website, and everything else over there. So you can go over there and help support his nonprofit with Veteran X. Go over there and help that. Join the club. You know what I'm saying? It's $4.22. You guys are getting a disability check every month. Just donate $4.22. I mean, be part of one of the coolest clubs there is out there right now, man. Kyle, I appreciate everything that you're doing in our community. I appreciate you being a brother, dude. Like I said, we're brothers for life. I mean, like I tell people, that's one things people can't understand is how us as Marines, how we're all brothers and sisters. Regardless if I hate you or not, you're still my brother, you're still my sister. You know what I'm saying? And we're always going to support each other, forever. That's our foundation, right? Everybody makes fun of us like, you guys fucking Marines are always Marines. And we're always Marines. We're never just ex-soldiers or ex-airmen. We're always Marines, And
exactly.
So I tell you guys, man, this is an amazing community, and you guys know me. I'm all about community, all about growing our community, and ensuring that we get the resources that we need, man. Like I tell you guys, don't forget to go check out my sponsor, Rafa180.com. That's Romeo Alpha Papa Hotel Alpha180.com to get all your medicinal grade CBD needs. If you're over there, go check out the Stoned Vet tab. You can get you some cool swag. I know you guys want some of these shirts. I got this shirt here. There's some amazing shirts so you guys can get out there and get some freaking support this veteran podcast. Don't forget to go over to Veteran Podcast Awards and vote for the #1 Marine Corps podcast. And look, I got this cup. My drink is still cold, dude. I've been over here for about an hour, and it's still ice cold. The ice is still in it, dude. But I appreciate it, Kyle. I appreciate you hanging out with us, guys. Remember, guys, you are loved. You're very important. If you're going to indulge in cannabis, do it responsibly. Go ahead, dude. If you're listening on a Saturday, overindulge, dude. It's okay. You're going to feel pretty good that evening. You'll feel pretty good, man. I appreciate it, Kyle. I appreciate everything for our community and everything that's going on, Remember, guys, here at the Stone Vet, we got you.
If it ain't raining, we ain't training. Nothing changed by complaining. I adapt and overcome. I make the best out of situations. I stay alert for my enemies trying to do me some harm. I fight for your freedom of speech and your right to bear arms. When I say I got your 6, that means I got your